there's a place that I've dreamed of, where I can free my mind. I hear the sounds of the season and lose all sense of time. Feels like we're in a dream, you know what I mean.
Right there, Kayak McIntosh.
Yes, indeed. Yet again, it is another CFN Live. It's Monday, and welcome. Thanks for everyone who's joining us tonight. We do have a lot to talk about, but before we get to it, we have a few announcements. Obviously, the CFN retreat up at Camp McIntosh. We are still looking for bodies. There's still room available. So if you are interested, you're on the fence, you're not sure what you're going to do in September from the 23rd to the 22nd, 23rd to the 27th, we'd love to see you up there. Andre and Tracy would love to hear from you. That is the email. That is the phone number. And, of course, the website if you want to go to see some of the updates on what they've been catching, how things have been going up there weather-wise. They're not being affected badly by the forest fires, thankfully, for their guests, that is. Whatever smoke that is happening, obviously the wind is blowing it away, but for the most part, they have not been affected like we have down here. They've certainly had their days, but nothing too extravagant that they have to vacate the area or do anything like that. So, knock on wood, we're very, very lucky, and we look forward to spending almost a week. I guess it's close to it. It's 5 days, but a weekend, let's just say, in September. Looking forward to it because that really caps off the year that is the year that was for CFN. So we look forward to that. And of course, if you want any more information in regards to pricing, thanks so much, Richard, for putting these together. Again, there's the phone number. That is what is included. And then, of course, that is the fee. Now, of course, there is a breakdown, and we will be posting it later tonight. So if you are, again, still interested, you're not quite sure, and you want to wait to find out what the price breakdown is, we will be posting that later on after CFN Live. So stay tuned to that. And, of course, I can't believe this. This is weeks away. August 9th, is it just me, or does it seem like time is absolutely flying? I know that's an expression that everybody uses, but weren't we just talking about the ice coming off the lakes like a month ago? I can't believe how fast the summer's gone. August 9th to 15th. I can't believe we're talking about this like it's almost next week. It's 3 weeks away, but it'll be here before you know it. And again, we have a packed house. So unfortunately, there are no spots available for the CFN retreat up at Horwood. But if you are interested in trying to book either a cancellation or a no-show, reach out to Warren Doris and see if you can get your butt booked in a bed. From what I understand, it has been a fantastic year for 2026 for both Camp Mac and Horwood. They've been booked up. Not too many cancellations, not too many open beds. So it's been a good year, and we're happy for both of them. It's well deserved. I also want to give you an update about the CFN app. First and foremost, thanks to all who have signed on. We are approaching 200 signed on participants. I don't want to call them subscribers because this isn't something that you're going to pay for. Knowledge should be free. I mean, to a certain extent. And when it comes to what the CFN app currently provides now is a knowledge base that we need to get out there. And when you sign up, you will receive an email thanking you for joining, thanking you for signing up for it and subscribing. But the key is there's one more favor I need you folks to do. One more favor I have to ask. Share it. We got to get it out there for the simple fact that as time goes on, as money becomes available, we take on sponsorships, this, that, and anything else. And, of course, this is all a process. And it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We want to get it so detailed that it will be lake-to-lake specific eventually. Right now, it is a broad overview. It takes you to where the regs are for a specific province or territory. It also allows you to buy a fishing license, which, again, as I said, depending on where you are in Canada or where you're possibly going. Maybe you're from the States and you want to buy a license and you have no idea where to go. This is what the CFN app is. And what it basically is the entrance to our fishery, where it will describe the regs for you and it will point you in the direction of buying a license. And unfortunately, if there are people out there that aren't following the rules, there's a way to report that too. So CFN app is something that's very, very cool. Trevor and I, Walter, the entire CFN group are very proud of putting this together. It's taken a little bit of time. As I said, right now it is user-friendly. It is very easy to use. You're not going to be walking into the cockpit of a 747 with all kinds of wonderful buttons and toggle switches and all that kind of stuff. As it's bare bones. It works. It provides the knowledge we need to get out there. But the best part, this is the thing that was mandated. Well, actually, I wouldn't say mandated. It was recommended by the Human Rights Commission back in 2007. There was an incident that happened up in Pefferlaw, which those who know, I don't need to describe it, but basically something happened. And it was a traumatic event. And what came out of that hearing was a recommendation from the Human Rights Commission that regulations need to be posted or available in different languages. Unfortunately, that has not happened. And we cannot interpret or translate the regs, because if we do translate them, then it becomes our interpretation. And God forbid, if we get that wrong, we could be leading people down a rabbit hole that we just don't. So for the sake of liability, for the sake of doing it right, whatever translation app you're using, you can cut and paste and get the translation based on what you're comfortable with. We cannot provide that yet. Hopefully we will. As I said, we're going to be reaching out to Google Translate and a few other key apps out there that are doing a great job translating English, French into different other languages. But there's a whole gamut of languages available on the app. So when you go to it and you click on your flag of origin, it immediately downloads everything on the app in your language. That way you can navigate. You can go to wherever it is that you need to go to find out how to buy a fishing license, what regs are where. If you're fishing in a different province, different area, you're not 100% sure, it'll take you right to the regs. And then what you do with those regs at that time when you get there is totally up to you. This is just a navigational tool for now. As I said, it is the most basic app that we could have come up with that worked perfectly the way we had designed, the way we had envisioned. And as I said, we're approaching 200 people that have subscribed. So I have one more ask. We just need to start sharing it. Get it out there so that you are armed. Rick Dory from KBC on Sunday showed me a way, and I'm going to try and get him on here, showed me a way that you can actually download an icon on your phone to make it look like an app. It's like a bookmark, for lack of a better way of saying it. But you can literally bookmark a logo on your phone that it looks like an app. And that way you can share it to people. You can send it. It's easily shared to others who have phones and media devices and whatnot. But again, I'm so happy. I'm so proud. But more than that, I'm proud of our CFN community for stepping up and showing support for something like this, because it is, this is a new thing. And it's a big deal. It really is a big deal. It's something that, as I said, is very much needed. A lot of folks in the industry have said so and have told me so, that it should have been done a while ago. But I'm very proud that CFN sort of was first through the wall. And hopefully what it'll grow into is something as anglers we can all be proud of, we can all benefit from, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The best part is when money starts to come in, we're going to be allocating money into the Serena Slush Fund, which will help sponsor and support other initiatives that are fish related. So in other words, if you have a hatchery pen project, you're going to do shoreline restoration or rehabilitation, we will hopefully be able to help out in the near future with that. But as I said, it all starts with people, and the more people we have, the more of a voice, the louder of a voice that we also have, and hopefully a little bit of clout to go along with it. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this ends up. But right now, knock on wood, everything's going very, very well. So again, thanks so much for all those who have bought into it, support it, understand what it is that we're trying to do. And as I said, look forward to seeing what the future has. Steve, nice to have you along. Joe's in the house. I'm going to go through and make sure that I acknowledge everyone that's with us. Eve's here. Great seeing you yesterday, Serge. That was an awesome, great time. And enjoy retirement, my friend. Well deserved. Well deserved. Pete LeDuc's in the house. How you doing, Pete? Good. Everyone just relax. Yeah, it was very relaxing day. I met Jeremy Parker. Very honored to meet Jeremy Parker at the KBC event. And I mentioned your name, Pete, because he is a fly tyer just like you. When I saw your fly collection on the wall and then saw the flies, as I said, that Jeremy sent. So what we have done, and these are remarkable. And Pete, as I said, you can appreciate a quality fly, but what Jeremy has put together is truly something. So when trout season, steelhead season opens up, we have 2 of these to give away. And we're going to be given away to 2 anglers under the age of 18 that are able to catch a trout, on a fly. And we'll put everybody's name in a hat, basically, on the name wheel. We'll spin it. We'll find out who takes home these prizes. But that'll start when steelhead season starts later on this year. But awesome stuff, meeting some great CFNers up at that event, and we'll be talking about it soon, very, very soon. Lloyd, how you doing, buddy? Nice to have you along with us. Also with you, Adrian. It is always a pleasure and an honor to have you around, buddy. It has been a while for you, yes, and I've been taking notice, keeping score, and you know what? You completely redeemed yourself, pal. No, I'm just kidding. Good stuff. Craig's in the house. How you doing, Craig? Oh, is it? So the smoke is bad. Okay. Well, maybe it's just that section. I'm not really sure, but I haven't heard any. I've heard they've had a couple days like we have up at Camp Mac in regards to the smoke. But, Jim and I will talk a little bit more about the forest fires because, as I said, we have to acknowledge what's going on up there, folks. This isn't just a horrific event. This is a human catastrophe. Like it's uprooting people. It's having people move. Find refuge and sometimes in the middle of the night in the last second. It's not good. It's really not good. How you doing, Richard? Nice to have you along, buddy. Thanks for all your graphics and logos and everything else that you help us out with. As I said, very, very busy, as you know. So to have someone like you doing some of that work behind the scenes, I appreciate it, pal. Thanks so much. Dwayne's in the house. How you doing, Dwayne? James from Advanced Taxidermy is with us. This is an honor, a pleasure, I'll tell you. Advanced Taxidermy. I'm only saying this because of the work that I've seen the crew up there, those folks do, and they are second to none. And I know Jim would attest to that. But James, keep up the great work. You and your staff up there, fantastic stuff that you guys are pumping out. Jeff Rashar, post where to go to get it. Yeah, great. Thanks for bringing this up, actually, Jeff. www.cfnapp.ca. cfnapp.ca. Sonia's in the house. How you doing, Sonia? I know you like pushing buttons. Holy smokes, there's a lot of you. Peter, how you doing, buddy? Nice to have you along. Rob's in the house. Gary DeSilva's here. Junior Bass Masters down in Tennessee. Oh, on lockdown. Why are they on lockdown? Is it? You know what? With everything that's going on in the world, I don't even want to know why are they on lockdown, Gary? Hopefully they're okay. Let's hope they're safe. Bring on Bitch Jim. Yes. Well, without further ado, we probably should, but. As I said, these are some of the things that we wanted to make mention of and, of course, bring to light for those who are sort of new or have been here before but, new to tonight. The CFN app is something that we are very, very proud of. And, as I said, we're hoping for good things to come. But with that being said, and, of course, I can't turn down the big man. It's time for Big Jim right after this.
When he was born, he tried to reel in the umbilical cord. Bass named him as their personal best. His power pole came with a stripper. Forward-facing sonar uses him to find fish. Chuck Norris is his co-angler. He is the most interesting fisherman in the world. Stay fishing, my friends.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing awesome.
Attaboy. Nice
Is
to
this
have
a
you
hint
on.
to get me in a kayak? No, okay.
No, it's not. And I will say there is something that I am going to share for folks tonight, that there's a first for everything, and a first happened this past weekend. We'll get to that. But first and foremost, Jim, how you doing, pal?
Let's do it. When I saw that picture, I didn't believe it. I was waiting for the chorus of angels, and I thought I've gone and didn't realize it.
Well, what you got yourself out of is having to sit in one of these bad boys. And I want to thank Jeff Dix from Limestone Lures. He put me in a kayak that certainly seemed formidable for a guy my size. I think the capacity was 800 pounds. He made, yeah, it was close. Yeah, it was nip and tuck. You know, I had to jog for a half hour before I could get in it.
400 pounds of fishing gear he never used behind him.
Yeah. I will say, this kayak in particular, and I forget the freaking name of it, but Frontier Outfitter or FrontenacOutfitters.com. By all means, go over and look at it. I think it's the Warlock is what it's called. Jeff, I want to thank you for getting me in this and twisted my arm, because I wasn't 100% sure. You know, you've got a big crowd there. The last thing I want to do, as I said, it resembled me. It resembled an elephant putting on a tutu and doing ballet. But I got in it. I was able to motor around, putter around, no problem. Didn't fall out like I expected I was going to. But Jeff said you were a little concerned. I said I was concerned more so that I was going to break something. What's the last thing, Jim? You know, from you're using somebody else's stuff, and you just don't want to break anything.
No, it's true. I have, you know, years ago when I first moved here, one of the guys, I think it was from, I can't think of the name of the kayak, the company, one of the big ones, the first ones that were in big time. Anyways, he says to me, Big Jim, let me send you a kayak that you'll be good in. And I balked. That was years ago, eh? And there was a buddy of mine came out here one day, and it was so funny because he gets me. He's down the back. He's like 5'10", 200. And, you know, at the time I was like still 6'4", and I weighed probably about 320. And he says, "You can get in this, no problem." We were joking around down the back here, right at the edge of the property, and I got in the kayak, and you heard it just go to the bottom. You could hear the sand, you know, rustle. When he was in it, and I'm just sitting there like this, going, "Okay, fine, that's what it is." He says, "Well, we got to get it in deeper water." I said, "Well, that's when the trouble could start, so it's all good."
I will say they've come out with a few others. And Mark, thanks so much for posting the brand name of it. Again, it is the Wilderness Systems Tactical Pro. I do believe they've come out, or at least Bonafide's come out with an even larger version of this, and for even more weight. But there's a lot of things that happen at ICAST. We'll get to some of it, you and I. But when it comes to the kayak industry, Jim, that industry is by far leagues ahead of anything else that is absolutely booming. I would have to say kayaking
it blew up.
Koikis and kayaks are neck and neck.
No, it blew up for sure. But I think when I was talking to somebody from one of the companies, and they told me that it's done this, you know, at for the time being, at least with their company, it had sort of plateaued out. But how high up it's gone in the debt. Well, when I first came here was when that's 11 years ago, was when it really started coming on, that I noticed it anyway, you know. And then just out of the blue, now in the last 2 or 3 years here, it seems every person you talk with has a kayak. You know, it's what, and even guys that have, you know, they have a Ranger boat, a big London home, whatever, and a kayak now, because they can get different things. It's sort of like it's trendy to have one, and I can see why, because a lot of guys, you know, you can get out fishing in it in a few minutes. Now, once you're thoroughly drilled at fishing out of a boat, like I did too, fishing 5-6 days a week for years, you get pretty, you know, qualified at putting a boat in. You know, if you got 2 hours to kill and you got a boat, we got 2 hours to kill. Good. Let's go launch the boat. That's how quick it used to happen, you know. But no, kayaks are just fantastic. Hey Ed, hope you're doing well, buddy.
Yeah, amen to that.
It's absolutely amazing. And I just saw Erica mentioned there about tournaments too, kayak tournaments.
It really is on the boom. Yeah, and I have to celebrate it because, as I said, it as Erica mentioned, and others have also, it doesn't necessarily matter what the brand name is. There is a kayak literally for everyone. Doesn't matter what size.
Well,
shape
look at you in that one, and look at all the stuff in it.
Absolutely.
You know, look at all the stuff in it. I mean, there's everything you could need there. There's probably twice as much stuff as you need in there. Once you get in there, like 15 rods and reels, you starting to look like a bass pro.
and you know, like he's got the camera. I can't wait for the footage because he took video of this, and of course he had me mic'd up and everything. So I'm hoping I didn't say anything that I'm going to be regretful.
Did they have a lifeguard standing by?
No, but I did have a life preserver on for all those that you know, were concerned about my safety. I did have a life preserver on. It accentuated the spare tire, but needless to say, it worked and it fit well. But Jeff Dix, I want to thank you again, buddy. Really appreciate it.
He's a great guy.
Time and effort that you put in to get me in this, and it was well worth it. I had a lot of fun. It was pretty cool. I would love to spend a little bit more time maybe fishing to see what that's like. But I will say this, Jim, and Jeff said, oh, the bigger the fish, the easier it is. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine. Can you imagine landing like a 50-inch pike in one of these things?
Well, I've watched a lot of people that are very proficient in kayaks. I've watched Greg DePalma fishes the Bassmaster kayak thing out of the States, and, you know, Christine Fisher and people, and you watch when they get fish. It's not like a boat. Nobody's going to tell you that it is. I watched her muskie fishing, and like, it was downright scary, you know, some of the fish, but that's what the net's for. You put the fish in the net, you put it across the kayak, and there's your fish in the net. It's, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. And, you know, like at first, kayak guys used to have so much trouble. Not now. Not now. They have everything they need. They've got, look at Jeff's. Yeah. You know, he had more stuff on that kayak than you had or I have on my boat. You know,
it's true.
It
is true.
Hey, Erica.
It's so true. Needless to say, as I said, Jim, it was the KBC Kayak Bass Canada.
Hang on just for a sec before I forget. Advanced taxidermy.
Yeah, baby. See, I knew.
The only fish in this house.
With that being said, of course, I was asked by a few people up at the event. They said, Scotty, you know, you travel an awful long way to come to this. And I said, it's worth it. And when I show you this video, there were, you know, as I said, and we'll talk about this in a second, Jim, I'm going to show you this video, and this is why. And this is the whole reason we need to support what they're doing. Have a listen.
Yeah.
This blows me away, guys. We raised $45,000, $468 for CHEO. You guys all did this.
Think about that, Jim. $45,000. And for those who don't understand what CHEO is, there were a lot of heartfelt stories that were shared. Dean Howard, who was there, shared one. There were so many. Joel Seguin became emotional about his journey and what CHEO meant to him and his family. Folks, in North America, I don't know any fishing community that is raising that level of support. I just don't know. I might be ignorant. I might just not know, but I would like to lay claim that KBC right now is the elite of the elite when it comes to raising money for an incredibly worthy
Well,
cause.
certainly in Canada, I've never seen, kayak guys or fishing guys raise that much money for something like that. I mean, I might get reminded of something that's from the past or whatever, but I'm not. So people know too, CHEO is Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. And I have my stories there too. I remember coming home from guiding on Mississippi Lake one day. This is many, many moons ago. And I got a call, and it was a lady OPP officer. And she asked to speak to James Robert McLaughlin. And I thought, I'm ready to run out to the forest out the back until things cool down. And she says to me, are you the father of Lindsay McLaughlin? I said, I am. And she says, I'm going to pass you over. And she passed me to somebody else. And they asked me to safely make my way to the Children's Eastern Ontario Hospital, that my daughter had been involved in a car accident and she'd been airlifted off Highway 416. And they asked me to get there safely. And I had just came in, was all sunburned and beat up. I had a great day fishing. I still remember it. And we went to the hospital, and the whole way there, it was the longest, we're living in, so probably like a 90-minute drive. And Scotty, it was one of the longest drives of my life after hearing your daughter had been airlifted, because that's not a good sign. And I'm thinking about it right now, and it's just scaring the shit out of me again. And I walked in the door of the hospital with Tammy, and I said to her when we got there, I just parked at the front and said to hell with it. And nobody met us at the door. And I said to Tammy, I said, this got to be a good sign that there's nobody at the door for you. And we were sort of walking in, and we just get inside the emergency ward, and we hear Lindsay's voice yelling, "Get your effing hands off my jeans." We had bought her, was trendy at the time, with J-Lo. Yeah. We had bought her J-Lo jeans, and she was busted up good time, eh? Like around all her hips and all that and everything. And they were trying to cut them off her, and she was having nothing to do with it. I think back to this day, that's my girl. But I thought to myself, we heard that and we went in and we saw her, and it was really cool because Tammy brought the jeans home that they had cut off her, and she made her a shoulder bag because Tammy does so much sewing. She made her a shoulder bag out of them that she still has to this day.
No way.
But I mean, when you talk about Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, it's one of those things. And I've had other experiences, haven't had kids. Lindsay, when she was younger, she had a thing they'd never figured out. It was a fever and a seizure one night. And I remember Tammy driving the car, or no, me driving the car, and we were young and just married. Like, she was like 3 years old, going to the hospital with her holding her in her arms, and she had, like, we thought she was dead. She had no vitals. She didn't appear to be breathing, and she was fine the next day. It was just one of those weird little things that they never really put their finger to. But that's my stories. It's like, ooh, you got to have that, and to see those guys raise money like that. I think when you've had an experience at the hospital like that, it probably means a lot more to you, than that too. Right? And then I told you, of course, about Aiden, the young lad that I went and did his chemo with at the hospital there. That kind of thing when they put him in it. What was it called again? That was Children's Wish Foundation. And he could have played hockey with Alfie for half an hour, or he could go fishing with Big Jim, and he chose to have a $5,000 shopping spree at LeBaron with Big Jim. Wow. And then he asked me to come do his chemo with him, and I'm sitting in the parking lot at 7 o'clock in the morning, scared shitless, talking to Mercer. And Mercer's trying to prime me to go in because I wasn't going to go. I was so scared. I didn't know what to expect. And then the chemo nurse says to me after, she says, "You must be somebody special to him because he's never let anybody in here, not even his mom." And, and he's a healthy young lad today, got a beautiful girlfriend, just got engaged. Big, strong boy. I wouldn't want to bother him today. You know what I mean? He's a big, strong boy. And, he wasn't supposed to be here. So it's cool. But, we all got our hospital stories like that. And that hospital has a lot of them. And it's just so freaking awesome that these guys raise this money for.
Oof.
It's really cool.
And the thing is, I don't know
that's
what I don't know what their total is right now, but it was 45 last year, 42 the year before. I think it was 38. Like, they have raised not just a 1 year total. This goes on every year. They're obviously adding to it as more people get to know about KBC and they get to know about their involvement with CHEO. But I'll tell you, Joel Seguin, he took home the best, recruiter of supporters, and he was a true champion. $7,500 he raised on his own.
That's nice, eh?
Oof. But he did have a very heartfelt story that he shared, and I think everybody after he was done was running up with $50s and $100 bills. Because
how old is he?
Joel?
Yeah,
good question, and I don't want to upset him, so I'm going to say 24.
Yeah, so his experience at the hospital was as a patient.
No, it was yes, actually it was him, and I believe his sister had health events that unfortunately CHEO took on and dealt with. But yeah, so he had a personal experience, plus he's had many other experiences since then. But Joel is an older gent, like obviously a little bit more than 40, but I'm not guessing. I don't want to upset the man. As I said, he is a true champion and showed it. He was on fine form there on Sunday.
That's cool.
So a big shout out and tip of the hat to our friends over at KBC for doing that. Look at this. Joel's with us tonight. Holy smokes. What are the chances? I was close. I said 24. He's 54. I'm close. Joel, as I said, bud, $7,500.
Brown noser you are.
Oh, dude, I learned from the best. I learned from the best. Well done, Joel, and well done, KBC. Jim, one thing I did want to ask you, and of course, they had some issues, obviously, with weather, and the event was supposed to be on the Saturday. They did the wise thing and postponed it to the Sunday. From what I heard from a lot of the participants up there on Sunday, Saturday was a snake show, as you would say.
Oh yeah, no.
The weather was incredible.
And it was nowhere near as bad as it was supposed to be. But God forbid, could you imagine? Kayaks don't get well when the wind blows really big. You know what I mean? It's like these guys all know this, and it's what it is. And God forbid we lose somebody, or they have to have a big hunt for somebody because they're missing and they find them, whatever. But God forbid, could you imagine if we lost somebody? That event would be forever scarred. It'd be, oh yeah, that's where the kayak guy died. They shouldn't have been doing that. You know the way people are. They always take a negative thing. Yeah. It wouldn't be, oh yeah, the other 100 guys were out there scouring the water as soon as the waves went down looking for their, they wouldn't talk about that. It would just be the bad part. And that's 100% the right thing. I've had times when I thought I was going to win a ton of money in a tournament, and they canceled it or moved the day, or that type of stuff, and I'm like, but they got to do it. It's what it is. It's not just about you. It's about the overall picture. Plus, it's good for the industry. Yeah. We don't need a scar, forget just the event itself, the whole industry. Then every time somebody tried to do something, have an event with kayaks, it'd be, somebody died a couple of years ago. Maybe we shouldn't be doing. The way people are just like that. And they're getting worse every day. Worse every day.
That way. It does seem that way.
Hey, Peter Norman, how are you, buddy? I saw you had my chair. Peter already has a chair open at the store for me. He had a picture today. Because he knows I got to drive right by it now when I go. It's right across. He's just before Canadian Tire in Smith Falls now, so it's cool.
He's a gem. He's a gem, absolute gem. Dwayne was fishing Quinny. Was really calm most of the day on Saturday. That's interesting. That's
well, like Sealy's Bay here, even on Christmas, it's 82 Fahrenheit and sunny most days here. So it's what it is. It's
true. So with that being said, they had to postpone the event in something that obviously transpires, and we all know this when a front goes through or a storm goes through. It seems that lake fish are affected a lot more in some cases than river fish when it comes to thunder and lightning in these fronts.
I'll give you that.
But obviously, There was some struggles with some of the anglers on the Sunday. They weren't able to find fish, although they did have a big bass. They did have 3 anglers that brought in a half decent bag, but for the most part, a lot of the anglers struggled. The wind was definitely an issue, but the fish, they were tough to find. What happens, Jim? You've been on the water so many years, so many times. What do you see happen after one of those storm fronts come through when it comes?
Well,
to
sometimes the fish just choose to go funky.
Yeah.
It's changed. Like, life is shut down. I heard a biologist explain it years ago to me one night. It was when I was doing the S word stuff, the Shimano stuff years ago, with the catch and release when they were getting it all. And I had a science guy at the Queen Center on the Rideau Lakes here, just about a half an hour from me here, explained to me, and he said to me that their beliefs on the whole thing were that everything shuts down. So, like, it gets cooler, the sun is probably gone a little bit. So all the little tidbits of the plankton that's being produced, the level of it drops down. So the zooplanktons that are eating the planktons, they drop down. Then the panfish that are eating the planktons, they sort of lay off because there isn't as much food. Everything gets sort of sullen about, and it just all sort of drops off. And then it always seems to be the next day after the cold front, the sun comes out, and at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the sun's beaten down, the plankton starts coming again. Everything comes to life, and everybody always says at a tournament when there's a cold front like that, and it's the day after they have the tournament, oh, if I would have had till 5 o'clock, I could have won. Well, everybody could have because the fish were starting to move again.
Right.
It's that type of thing. But they're also, the end of the lake they have that event in isn't exactly the best part of the lake.
Okay.
You got to. There's a lot more options. As soon as you make the turn and go down, there's a lot more option as soon as you go around the corner. Now, I haven't been there in a long time, but I had quite a bit of good success there. And I actually guided there a bit. It was a bit of a drive to go. It was like a 2-hour drive to go to a guide, but it was well worth it because at the end of the day, they'd catch most days, like a day like today, or Sunday, they'd catch 25 fish each, pike, largemouth, fiat, smallmouth at the time. And back then, the walleye fishing was, that was one of the first places that I ever, like, people hear you talk about jigging wraps and the way they're used in the summertime. And I'll guarantee you there isn't 5 people listening here tonight that have ever fished a jigging wrap in the summertime. They think it's a nice fishing lure.
And for most of us, I would agree. And I caught my first lake trout on a jigging wrap. And I attribute it to ice fishing. You're 100% right.
Straight down through a hole. Or vertical jigging in the summertime. I've caught lots with the vertical jigging, but when I was first introduced, and I had my clients doing it out on flats in 12, 15, 17 feet of water, a little bit of sparse weed and rock and slime and stuff, and walleyes love that type of stuff. That's where they live in the summertime in a lot of lakes, and that's why ripping a jigging wrap horizontally, letting it go to the bottom, ripping it. I mean, when they hit that thing, they take the rod out of your hand. It's just like rip jigging a bucktail.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like bang, they hit it because it's moving so fast, and they whack it just before it gets to the bottom again. And then when you go to rip it again, you set the hook. And I used to bring my clients there, and that was one of the first things that my first real experiences where I used it and I did it, and I thought, wow. And then just to try to talk to people about it, and they'd look at you like you mean the ice fishing lure, like no concept. Eh? And then they'd look at their friend and go like, yeah, right, like he must have bumped his head last week fishing,
Who booked this guy?
Yeah, that's true for sure. But yeah,
and you're right, Richard. Walleye are definitely on the comeback on White Lake.
They've come back 4 or 5 times. If they keep, I'm going to bite my tongue. If they put them back down the damn hole ice fishing, they'd have a lot more. Gotcha. When you see the pictures of 8 and 10 and 12 pound, or 8 and 10, 12 fish on the ice in the wintertime, and they're all like 4 or 5 pounds, it doesn't take long. White Lake isn't a big lake. It's a fair size, but it's not big because a lot of the lake is not inhabitable. The square footage is just not really good fish habitat. But when you get into the other parts of the lake, oh boy, that lake can, like I said when I used to guide there, they get banged out of there. The number of fish you could catch in a day, it's absolutely scary. I know guys, well-known guys that have filmed TV shows there years back, and they they go on about it to this day, how good it was. And it still has its moments, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a cottage lake. It's heavily fished. It's got a lot of tourism. And when they catch a fish, they release them in Greece. And, you know, the Great Canadian Fish Fry, that's a summertime, you know, thing that we do, you know. It's what it is.
Looking forward to it up at Horwood, as we always do. Most nights we gather around the fire, and that's what we're doing. We're cooking fish, and it brings people together. It's a good way to end the evening.
Does it just taste so much better when you cook a fish? You could do it in your backyard. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. You could catch the fish, beam yourself to your backyard, put it in a fryer, cook it, and you go, oh, that's good. You do it on a shoreline, and guys are like animals. They're 6 beers deep, and they're what? Oh, it's the best fish I ever ate in my life, and it is. It's just, you know.
You are so bang on. And for those who are, and I know there's a bunch of you.
Hey, I've done this a couple of times.
Exactly. But, you know, we're up, you know, and you know, we do our best to try and be, you know, clean and sanitary. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm handling all of the fish. They go into the bags, shake them, and, you know, put the coating on it, put it in the oil. You know, you're handing fish pieces to people. I don't know what it is, but you just hit the nail on the head. Dude, when you're up north, it is something special. If I were to try and do that down here, people would be looking at me like, yeah, but you're touching my food. Like, no,
yeah,
I'm not.
It's being at the lake. You know, you've heard me tell the famous story about with the guys from Fishing Canada the time I got the drum, and I filleted it and cut the fish up, and they put it in the deep fryer just like they were doing with the walleyes, but they ran out of walleyes, and I put the drum in, and they were eating the drum, and they, oh my God, it's the best fish I ever ate in my life. And I go to the garbage can, walk up, and I've got the skeleton, the drum that I cut the flesh off, and they're all, ooh, 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 you know? But I mean, everybody was having a great time. We're standing down at Merlin Park there, you know. We're just having a great time, man.
Peter is he's mentioning that stage 2, stop number 2, for the Young Angler program is set for this weekend, and I believe I'm going to assume it's up at White Lake, Peter, based on what you're posting here. I'm hoping they left enough fish for you. Hopefully didn't pin too many.
Well, find out where they put them back.
True enough. Sonia is asking for a little bit of help, Jim, and I haven't spent a lot of time up in Temiskaming. Have you?
Many, many moons ago, I fished there one day for smallmouth.
Yeah.
It was just, it was like 35 years ago, and we were driving by, and somebody made a mention, and it was absolutely lights out.
Anything in particular you remember working very well?
I remember catching it with rattle baits.
Rattle baits.
Yeah, I remember chucking rattle baits because I'd never been there, so it allowed us to fish that and double willowy spinner baits. We had never been there, so we were fishing fast, just covering shoals and going to rock points and obvious stuff, even just rock shorelines, you know, certain areas that looked not just even stuff when it looks broken up, you know, and that kind of stuff. And then there was one area we went to, and I remember looking up on a cliff. It wasn't very high. It was maybe about 20 feet high, but there was a spot up there when you looked up on the cliff, and it went into a big V, and it was all broken rock. And I said to myself, well, all those pieces of rock over the years that fell out of there, we know where they are. Yeah. And we went there, and that was the spot we caught the most fish on. They were all 2.5, 2 pounds. But hey, I can catch 2.5 pounds smallmouth all day. It's I never begrudge the fish by its size, but yeah.
I would say white plastics too, Sonia, if you like pitching, white plastics because of the amount of forage that they have up there. That always works well as well.
What's a white plastic?
Like a. You put me on the spot.
No white.
I love you, Jim. You're awesome. White. Well, you don't like your whites. You don't like your natural colors. You like your pumpkin seed color. I know you're big in pumpkin seed.
There's one of Wes's colors from Wham. Look at that. That just drives me nuts. I'll wake up hugging myself thinking about that color in the middle of the night. And I'm just joking about all this other stuff, but you look at the kind of stuff that I like. See, now that to me, that's me going to the disco. That's like funky. I'm walking on the wild side right there. I'm more like kind of laid back, like something that looks like a fish, you know.
Yeah.
or like June bugs, black, that kind of color. Not really big on chartreuse, but something like that there, that winds me up.
So that is if you have a two-tone with a black back and a pearl or white belly.
Rob Coulahan's baits, his minnow.
Yeah.
Look at
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I gotta go now.
that's-
I gotta go fishing.
I was gonna say that's the thunder shad, isn't it? That's the thunder shad that you're just holding.
I'm not sure of the names.
I think
I'm
it's the
not
thunder
sure.
shad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's it's a minnow bait, eh?
Mm-hmm. And we featured it. We've got a video out. I got to play it again, but
Nice
the
color.
amount-
See those little wings on them all?
it's incredible.
That's
Jim, it's
what.
incredible.
Yeah, all the forward-facing sonar baits have those little things, and when you team them with the proper jig head, and it can't just be any jig head, it has to be like the one that works the best is an owner, and it's called a range roller,
Mm-hmm.
and it works best on that because of the shape of the jig head, and it's what gives the bait this. Every little twitch you give it, it'll do this. And this has been the whole thing with this now. It's what they do. It's just another thing where they've learned to catch fish,
You'd be surprised.
That's getting bothered now by this.
Oh, no kidding. Oh,
This is like, it's not even worth talking about. Like ICAST on the weekend, Scotty.
oof.
I couldn't believe it. I'm scrolling for like 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm looking at all the new stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, this must just be the Koike knockoff section. And then I realized it wasn't. Like every company just put in that bait, and of course, Rapala won.
Yeah.
With the Crush City, they had one called the CEO.
Yeah.
And it's a phenomenon. Like, it was interesting the other day. I was listening to our buddy Mr. Mercer interview Rick Clunn. Rick Clunn said, "Give it 3 or 4 years and you won't be able to sell one." And I pretty near fell out of the chair when I heard him say that, because he has always talked about water displacement. That's why that guy still to this day. He won a tournament like an elite a couple of years ago, at I think like 75 or 74, and he caught almost all the fish on a big spinnerbait with great big giant blades. But water displacement, and that's what those baits do. There's so much movement that they move so much water, and when they jerk them like a jerk bait, there's so much goes on. There's so much movement of water is what initially attracts it to them, or attracts the fish to them. But to hear him say that, wow. I was in awe. Hey, if you want to have a life-changing experience, go look up Mercer's podcast and get the one with him and Rick Clunn. And don't listen to it for 5 minutes. Listen to the hour. And you will see what a beautiful mind Rick Clunn has. He is truly, truly a gem. I remember when I was back in my crankbait days, when I was winning all the tournaments and I had my Rick Clunn hat and everything else, and he was winning all the tournaments with crankbaits, and I wanted to do everything he did. I tried to fashion myself after him. It was absolutely amazing. And, it was just the power that the guy had. And his mind, the way he thinks, it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And, it's interesting that you say that, because I've heard others say it as well, that, it's going to be one of those baits that comes and goes, because it's just so irregular. The fish have not seen it.
They said that about sluggos. Sluggos are still around. People don't use them like they used to. The wacky worm replaced the sluggo. It was the next one to come along after it. It was so potent, it was ridiculous. Still is.
So that was the question I wanted to ask you. You have paralleled the Koike and the wacky worm, sort of neck and neck. Koike has since leagues ahead now when it comes to the marketing, the buzz, and everything else that's associated with it. But the Senko's still around and it still catches fish. Yep. So how could someone lay claim to that give it 4 years and you're never going to be able to sell another one when we've seen? I know,
that's what confused me.
Yeah.
But it was along the way, I forget what it was that Rick Clunn said something And Mercer said to him, I don't know, I have no idea, but if you say it's true, I'll believe you. You're Rick Clunn.
Mm.
And that's sort of the way people respect Rick. Eh? He is a genuinely different character. His spiritual beliefs are incredible. I'm not a religious person. I believe myself being somewhat spiritual at times.
Mm-hmm.
And Rick is like, whoa, out there, like spiritual. Like he believes that everything is connected somehow, and everything. And to hear him talk, I was sitting here. Well, in fact, I'll show you what I was making. I was making this, and I was listening to him, and I was working on it here, climbing right on the bikes here, and I just stopped doing it. And I found myself 20 minutes later, I'm sitting in the chair like this, just listening to him on the phone. Like I was in awe. I sent Mercer a note, and I told him, I said, here, I'll tell you what I said to him. It was absolutely amazing. Like I just, it was the weirdest thing, how it caught me. Where? I didn't realize that I had talked to him so much.
I didn't realize that he was that spiritual. I didn't realize that. I know lots of bass anglers are, and especially when they're on the pro tour, you hear them,
Here's what I wrote to Mercer. I just said to him, morning. I said, I have just become a more enlightened and I believe a better person after listening to what could be the best interaction between two anglers I have ever taken in. And I put WTF, LFG, and then some. I'm fired up like I haven't been in years. And he answered me, I love you, buddy. I'm happy someone's listening.
Well, you know what? I think it deserves a listen. And all those who have a chance or some time, by all means, head over to.
For that to come out of my mouth like that, and, remember I said to you the other day, I saw a change in myself over getting this first half of my spine done on Thursday. Although I had that stupid, I got what they refer to as steroid flu. So Scotty saw me. I was like, you're not touched. You're like out in left field. You're it makes your sugar go wild. Anybody out there knows anything about blood sugars, my sugar went from 6 to 20 in the space of 3 hours after I got it. I was just goo-gooed. It jumps up and down. It's at 20, it's at 12, it's at 6, it's at 18. It's all over the place. You're just lost. You can't sleep. You lay in the bed 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like, in the cartoons, they used to put the toothpick in the eyes to hold them open. I think it was the cat or whatever. That's what I was like. That kind of stuff, eh? And I don't know whether tonight, I see it in myself. I'm more animated tonight. I'm more
big time.
I'm not in pain. I'm not in pain, but it's probably a quarter reduced. But when you're in pain that bad all the time, you don't realize what a quarter does. And I know this is only going to last a few months. So, 3 months, maybe I can make the best of it. But I got to go Thursday and get the other side done. And then he talked to me the other day, and it was so funny because he x-rayed my hips. They have an x-ray thing they can move around and tilt and watch, and he had the technician do it. And he told me, he says to me, you have perfectly formed hips. Like he said, your hips where the spine joins and everything. He said it could be in a medical textbook. I said, are you hitting on me? But it was so funny. We were laughing. And the tech lady, it was so funny to hear her. She goes, oh. She goes quiet again. Maintaining
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
But he told me because of the way everything is, he said to me, I don't know how you feel about pain. And I said, well, I try to avoid whenever I can. And he says, there is a process I can do. And he says, I'd like to try burning the nerves as I explained to you. And he says, I'll put you through 10 minutes of hell, but you might get 6 or 8 months of, 75% relief. So I'm excited with 25%, which I would say. So could you imagine 75?
Absolutely. Let's do it. Do it. Get her done.
So it's one of those things that has to be. Anyways, that's sharing that crap with you is what it's all about. I'm not sure, but I got a bunch of stuff from my buddy Hiroshi Nishine was down at We were talking about this. I think we mentioned this before. I've had time to get through all this. He's got the smelt in. This stuff that he's got, the quality of it is second to none. Absolutely second to none. And some of the baits that he's got, like I was showing you this the other day, Scotty.
Yes.
Like it's just so small. That's a Chippewa baby. I think it's a baby Chippewa. It's got that little blade that spins underneath it for a bit of action. And he's got other little baits here. This is called a baby albino, and it looks like a spy bait.
Yeah,
it's
it
got
does.
A blade at the back, but that little blade, you can see it doesn't have a swivel. It just flaps back and forth. But this sinks. This is pretty heavy. So it sinks.
Wow.
It's just basically a spy bait, but it's a little bit heavier. And one of the coolest things that he has, and I know some guys that have been absolutely crushing fish with these. Everybody, when they use a rattle bait, they think it's the rattle that catches the fish. And I've often thought that because we've caught so many fish with blade baits and things like that, head and sonar, that type of bait, they didn't have rattles in them, and they caught the heck out of fish.
Yeah.
So he brought out his Simcoe baits.
Wow.
And they have no rattles in them.
Oh, no way.
So it's just purely vibration. Yeah, there's nothing in there.
Wow.
I'll tell you, are the hooks sharp?
And again, that would be a bait based on its wobble back and forth. Water displacement is what these fish are keying in on.
That's all it is noise, eh? But he's got so much stuff there. He sent me a box of it, and I think back, he sent me stuff in the past, and I looked at it, and I know he had these the better hooks for sure, Peter. Like, look at them the way they are. Look at the way they catch you. They're so, it's stupid. But something he had sent me some of these things. They are called Namazoos, and they're meant to look like a little catfish. See at the front?
Yeah.
But they have a tail. So I was telling a buddy of mine about that, and I was telling him one day, he sent me 3 bags of those. And I was out doing one of my scourages in the garage, as I've been doing for the last couple of years. And hang on. And I told him, I said, somewhere there is 1 bag left. Hang on.
This is actually interesting, Jim, because I didn't think there was a top predator for catfish. I thought catfish were one of those fish that most fish leave alone.
Oh, no, they crushed them.
Is that right, eh? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Like Mark Thorpe in the Ottawa River, the lower Ottawa River, he paints almost all of his baits black and white because they eat catfish and bullheads and stuff. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I found the bag in the garage with 2 left in it. I had used the bags, and that's what they look like right there. They're the coolest little things. And I just Texas rigged them. The tail is just straight tail. But I went down there one night and I used up, I think there's 5 in a bag. Yeah, 5 in a bag. So I used up 10. I used 13 of them one night out the back.
Wow.
So how many people here use 13 of one plastic bait in a two-hour span this year?
Not this guy. Not
doesn't happen too often, eh? But it's just so cool when you think of it, how many things are out there. And he's got all kinds of little drop shot baits. He's got these now too, and they're like, he's getting into bigger stuff.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Like that stuff that's just beautiful, but he's just got a sea of stuff, eh? Just a sea of it. And when you see him work at it, it's just absolutely incredible. Like, what a master. Like, I know we mentioned before about when I went to his house and he showed us I was at Gord Roadcliffe and he showed us the packages. He was the guy that did Megabass's first stuff in the Japanese domestic market. He did the Shimano domestic market stuff, all kinds of stuff with his pictures on the card of the lures that were on the wall, master designer, Hiroshi Nishine and whatever, right? So anyway, that's what I was telling you the other day. He's coming over here in the middle of September. So
yes.
we have to get you booked for your September pilgrimage when he's here. We could have some fun.
No problem with that, pal. Looking forward to it. I will say
That's what I told him. I said to him, why don't you come to my house, go over for a night, and we'll go fishing? He goes, you mean me?
He is
He's
a very
fun.
modest guy. He is a very modest,
tremendously. Like a lot of us.
Individual.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be interesting.
Down at ICAST there, and it was priceless. Some of the times, the best ever was me saying to him, like, he's really hard with his accent, and he talks so quickly. And I look at him and I go, Hiroshi, talk to me in English. He goes, I am Big Jim. He's talking so fast, you just couldn't tell what he was saying. Just such a character. His girls are in university now. When I saw them last time, they were, little kids. They were 10 years old, It's cool. He's been at it for a while. He's done very well. He came to Canada to do this. It's what he wanted to do here. He wanted to be a lure guy. And
I can't wait to see the picture of the three of us. He's going to look like a cocktail wiener between two Kaisers. It's going to be quite interesting.
Put mustard on him. He might get eaten by accident.
Absolutely, because he's a thin little guy. Rick's asking about the Berkeley Chapel bait. Are you familiar with this, and have you used it?
Is that one of the knockoffs of the spinning tail?
I believe so.
What's that called? I forget.
Yeah, I don't know either. But
Rick, what's the original of that lure?
I don't even know who made it, to be quite honest with you. But
yeah, I know. I know what he means.
Peter's asking about his new frogs. Have you seen his new frogs? Yeah, they look pretty sexy. Here we go. Yeah. Jim's getting excited. Look at the smile on his face. Yes.
It's really cool. He talks about this when you're rigging these frogs. If you're fishing in weeds, see the way that's right up in there, the lead? So if Scotty's waiting for something rude. If you're fishing if you get out into more into, like the edge of the weeds, or you're in lily pads, or, like something that's not as apt to get jammed on the weeds, I'm trying not to hook myself because I cry in front of you. You pull a piece of lead out so it's like this, and it actually moves the hook. You can see there's space now between the plastic and the hook, where on the one where it's up inside, see the way there's no space?
Okay, yep.
And I thought to myself, the guy's a genius. I didn't know this. And I saw Lewis had mentioned it to me, and then I saw one of the guys in the Nishine booth mentioned it to him at CanCast, and so I went down, and he's got, he's always talking about how important it is with the frog, not just when you think there's water in it, to do it all the time, because it makes it easier for the fish to compress it.
Yes.
And they actually, I don't know if you can see it. Maybe if I use the colored one here, I don't know if you can see. There's a little slit.
Yep.
See that little slit right there?
Yep. That's to empty it.
That's to empty it. A lot of them just have a little hole, but you squirt it, and water or air, whatever. It's just really, really, it's really, really cool. Yeah, I think they were. So I was asking. I think they're sold out online. I'm not sure, because I know he asked me if I wanted some, and I went to look at because I mess around with frogs out the back here a lot, and I went to look, and he didn't have any white ones there. When he sent me the box of stuff, I opened up the box, and about the third thing in was a white frog, so it was a bonus.
Well, we are getting lots of comments in regards to it's the Chapel, I believe is what it's called, the Berkeley
Chapel. Yeah, what was the original one called?
Okay, so the original one is called the Whopper Popper.
Whopper Popper, yeah.
Yes, I missed this. I didn't think it was. I thought it was completely different bait. So thanks all you folks for putting this up.
Yeah, it catches the heck out of fish, Rick. I know lots of guys that are fishing with it and catching the heck out of them.
And Sonia's saying it makes a crisper sound. The Whopper Popper makes such an interesting sound, especially in low light conditions, that I have seen pike blow up on Whopper Poppers like there's no tomorrow. But if this thing is better, I can't wait to use it. That's quite something. Speaking of ICAST, 7 came out with a new reel. You're going to tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, they brought out a new 300 size musket reel, and it's as you can see, it's right there. It's a pretty nice looking reel. It's got I believe it's got a carbon fiber handle and a few other things. I haven't got anything on it yet. I'm still getting myself acquainted with a lot of the stuff that they've got out there. But this was a really nice addition for them, and it's nice because this is, they call it a musky reel, but it's still, if you're into fishing with bigger swim baits or stuff like that. It's only a 300 size, so it's it's really, really nice. But they took a couple of extra years on this one because they've really only been out there for about four years. But you can see, and I mean, at 9.3 ounces, that's not that bad, and it's got a couple of gear ratios there. So it's I'm sure it's going to be a winner, and I should have one of those in my hands. Hopefully, maybe by the end of the week here, because they were supposed to send me one today. It's
incredible.
Yeah.
I have been told that the retrieve on these are incredible. Like the amount of line that it brings in every stroke is quite something.
Yeah, that'd be the gear ratio. Yeah,
that is something to see. Well, looking forward to you casting with that, my friend. I will say that. Is there anything we didn't touch on, Jim, that I didn't get to? I know we've been talking for quite a while, and we're hoping.
I don't know. I got a new one of these this week for when stuff falls and goes underneath the tables here.
The claw.
That's the best thing the craw. That's the best thing I ever had in my life was the day I got one of those, because you'll be putting something together here. I'll be playing, and something will fall into one of the bookcase or the table where I tie or something, and I don't fit under tables too well, and you can just reach under and grab it. Plus, when the grandkids are here, they run around and they sort of try to grab each other with it until one of them gets hurt, and then they scream and fight. So it's cool. I give it to them and then watch them go.
Sorry, you are something else. They got a screaming chapel now, and Joe's talking about the tried and true hula popper. I loved the hula popper.
The old super popper. Still working on those, Joe. Cool.
Yeah, I love the old hula popper. That brings back some great memories. Wow, I actually started fishing when I started casting, and it was with my dad and my grandpa. Hula popper was the first lure that they had me practice with, and it made perfect sense to do that.
I remember seeing a guy, one of the guys from California, where poppers really, Don Iavino and several of these guys, and they actually took hula poppers to play around with to see what would happen, and they shaved the bottom lip off them. The way it was a round circle in the front.
Okay,
So they cut the front down, so the pop is not really what gets the fish. I'm a firm believer at that. I've never heard a bait fish on the surface make a popping sound. They make a swishing sound, and that's why all the high-end poppers, and a lot of them, they'll sort of have an undercut. The bottom, the lip sort of slants back, so it's making like a swooshing sound, as opposed to a popping sound. And yes, you can catch fish with something making a popping sound, but you'll catch more fish, more temperamental fish and bigger fish with things that make the sound of swoosh. I mean, you may never have been right close to a big school of bait fish. I'm talking like 1,000 bait fish coming out of the water at once, being chased. And I don't remember hearing, you know what I'm saying? It's always a swooshing sound.
The animation made it. I'm sorry, Jim.
You should have an instant replay on that.
The animation sold that.
Here, hang on.
But
there you go. I used to do that in high school. I'd sit in the back of the class and do that, eh? And there was a teacher, Mr. Goldie. He'd look around and he'd go, "You, the office now."
That is absolutely hilarious, pal. Yeah, and you're 100%. So that's an interesting tip. Just to shade down that's interesting.
Yeah, it's something that's not. Hey, you see those things I sent you about lake trout today?
Yes, and I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about it or if it was something that you wanted me to bring up with Jay, but
yeah, you can bring it. I mean, he may know, he may not know, but I mean, when you hear them talk about sample testing in Lake Superior and catching lake trout in over 1,000 feet of water. And I went back and listened to that 2 or 3 times, and I thought, like, I'm looking at the back of my phone on my uncandid camera, like I couldn't believe it. Talking about them spawning on shoals that are 50 feet deep, and it's all documented, Then most of the lake trout, in Lake Superior live below 300 feet. Well, if that's what we're catching, look at the lakes. I mean, I know guys that go to Lake Superior to fish for lake trout every year, and they probably do as well or better than the people that go to Great Bear Lake.
Is that right, eh?
Oh yeah. The only thing it lacks is they don't come home with the 40 and 50 pounders, which
Right.
can happen up in
Right.
those places. Every year somebody catches a 45 pounder, a giant, you know. And that
But
happens.
to your point, Jim, I didn't think there was that much in the food web, or at least any of the fish per se, down that deep. And
Yeah, it's what they eat. They showed the meat. They're eating these
Yeah.
5-pound fish by the and a lot of, I heard one guy talking about it when I went and looked at more of it. He talked about it was the same thing with northern pike. A lot of people don't realize that when bigger northern pike, we're not talking about 5-pounders and 8-pounders, they're big fish, you know. They live at a depth and they actually will migrate down to feed. And a lot of these lake trout that are in that 200 to 300 foot range, they will also migrate down to feed to where these other fish are that they feed on.
Mhm.
You always think of feeding as being a migration going shallower because food shelves. But when you live out in the middle of the water, a food shelf isn't the same way. I guess it doesn't. I don't know. I could be wrong scientifically, but I don't think it's the same. It's not a food shelf. It doesn't have a whole bunch of life and everything happening there, you know?
Yeah.
And you go down to get these fish and, you know, they talk about all the different kinds of lake trout. I never knew this stuff existed.
I didn't know Cisco went down that deep. First of all, obviously, you know, for the trout to be down there's got to be food. So for them to have a food base down that deep for them to target truly is amazing in itself.
I mean,
And now
sure, they
you
eat each other.
Well, and this is the thing, and anybody that knows lake trout knows they are an extremely aggressive fish.
You ever see a lake trout's mouth, like a 20-pound lake trout when it opens its mouth? I mean, they can get a 3-pound walleye would just fall in there.
A freaking man.
They have huge mouths. Remember the years ago seeing Jimmy Lindner and Jeremy Smith, which used to come to Andy's show. They used to have them from the Lindners, the end fishermen guys. They would come up there and they were up there fishing and they ran out of the baits that they were using, these big spoons. Like they lost a couple of them and whatever, and they didn't have any. So Jimmy Lindner took a Dodger like this, put a 5-aught treble on the end of it, and they started trolling the Dodger, and they were catching 25-pound lake trout on the Dodgers because they didn't have spoons. It's just, you know, it's what it is. If they can eat something big and it's coming by, away you go.
We're up at Tazen Lake, and Scott Stewart was the one that joined me up there. Brett is going through some of his underwater footage. I think he's got one of those Water Wolf underwater cameras, and we're up on the boat. I think we had maybe landed 2. It didn't seem like a lot of action. Didn't seem like a lot was happening. Holy smokes, man. You look at the footage, and I forget what the bait was Scott brought, but it was like a frog color, but it was like a croc kind of thing. I don't know what, but the knocking that it made was it was deafening. And these lake trout, Jim, I've never seen anything like it. We're literally beating the crap out of one another trying to get at this bait. So there we are. We're trolling. We don't really see a lot of rod action. We're not getting a lot of strikes. Nothing's really happening in our eyes. You look at the underwater footage, and it's like a bench clearing brawl going on down underneath the surface.
And they're not eating it.
They're not eating it, but they're pushing others away from it.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It was.
They've probably never seen anything like that before.
Probably not. No, you're
Probably never seen anything. You know, I mean, people think that I'll argue this to the death. You know, you hear people say, "Oh, the fish got used to it." 3/4 of the fish have never seen the stuff that we put down there. You know.
True. Very, very true. Very, very true. Well, Jim, as I said, we've kept you here long enough. We were hoping Jay was going to show up, but it doesn't
I'll
seem.
have to book you in for some overtime there and see when that check shows up next week.
Well, don't worry. I'll just take Lawrence's pay and I'll give it to you.
Sweet, double down. You should have put a memo in his file that he wasn't here again this week. Eh? Sign my name to it if you need to. It'll all be good. It'll all be good. It'll all be good. Hey, I ought to take my hat off again to the guys with the kayak thing. Eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't do enough on that one. I wish I wouldn't have felt like a bag of dirt, and today I felt so much better. I missed it by one day, eh? So, but
again, and not to dwell on it, but it really there was a certain sentiment after Dean got up and shared a story of his granddaughter, and how it affected, and in a positive way, CHEO did to his family and of course his granddaughter. But then Joel, had a very moving story about himself and his sister. Just to see the reach, the impact that CHEO has had on a lot of families. Again, guys, if when we do this next year, we're going to try and spread the word a little bit sooner and a little bit louder, because we'd love to hit the 50,000 mark and help KBC get there. I know times are tough. Trust me, I get it. Everybody's struggling to make payments and find cheap gas and cheap food and everything else. But something that affected these people the way it did, and if you saw it firsthand, you would be compelled like the rest of us.
Well, we had Lindsay in a wheelchair for 6 months. We had the wheelchair thing at the front of the house. Our living room ceased to exist, and it became Lindsay's bedroom because it was 3 stairs went up to the bedroom, and things like that. So it's we lived through that, and we got here, and she's a SWAN certified burn wound specialist today, and got a bunch of nice little kitties, and away we go. So you get
100%.
through it, and it's having that help like that you need. I was happy to see in Ottawa too. They just opened Rogers House.
Okay.
They reopened that, and it's much bigger and much better and everything connected to the hospital. That's just an absolutely awesome thing too.
Wow.
That's there after Roger Nielsen, the coach from the Sens.
Mm-hmm.
They put that house there, so when your child's being treated, you got, if you got to come from 300 or 400 miles away, you can come and stay there for, I don't know how long you can stay, but there's kitchens and food available. There's kitchens where you can go cook your own food if you want to have a family dinner and you're used to having, making hot dogs and potato salad, and that's what you want. Well, there's the kitchen. Have at it. Go to the grocery store and, get your food, and away you go cooking it. They have everything
100%.
you need.
Joe, I concur with that, pal. 100%. He is definitely. You are a different boy tonight. You are a different boy than I saw.
People don't realize what pain does to you.
Yeah.
They have no idea, and I try to smile with it, but boy, and this is at the end of the day. And I just feel myself animated. It's there.
You could tell.
Like I'm not doing anything until 11 o'clock tonight, so I'm good here. If you want.
Firsthand, like Sunday to right now is like night and day with Big Jim. In fact, I almost don't even recognize him. He is so full and vibrant tonight. Sunday, you were struggling, and I felt for you, man. My heart fucking bled for you. I tell you, it was. Hey,
Tammy, thank you for leaving your cheese sourdough bagels you picked up here.
And I didn't do that on purpose, but I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I did.
You
not
knew you'd eat them before you got home. You wouldn't even have time.
That was the other problem. They looked. Were they good? Were they really good?
Hang on for a second.
I'm with you, Joel. Let's do it, pal. Let us do it. 50K next year for CHEO would be absolutely incredible. Oh, the Persuader. The Persuader. Look out. Somebody's in the mood tonight, I'll tell you.
Look out. Damn
Somebody better step up or you're all getting it.
Yeah, somebody better step up here. That you gotta remember that line. I haven't heard that in years.
It's
best one ever was. We're all headed to drink beers over on the Quebec side when we were younger, and we're in a buddy of ours' dad who was driving us, and he was a character. He was just dropping us off, and we pull up at a light. There's this guy kept brake checking him all the way down King Edward Avenue in Ottawa, headed over. Anybody in Ottawa knows where I'm talking about. And he gets to St. Patrick Street, and the door opens. And this guy gets out. He's a big boy. He's probably like 6'5", probably 250, something like that, eh? And this was back in the day when I was in the bars, and this is what we did. And I'll never forget hearing the sound of all the locks in the car go down. And his dad said to me, "Jimmy, he wants to talk to you."
Oh.
So I got to talk to him.
And the rest will be at the on the 11 o'clock news.
Oh my God,
Jim, as always, dude, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for persevering, and it is so awesome to see you in the kind of shape you're in right now. Sunday was tough to watch. As a friend, it was difficult to see you in that kind of pain, but I am so glad that today is a better day.
Appreciate that.
You take care of yourself, okay, pal?
It's funny, because I got to go here Thursday, and then Friday morning I got to be in Markham for 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't affect me the same way.
I hope not either, pal.
Be a long drive to Markham. I'll get to Markham and beat somebody up.
Great. Make sure you bring the bat.
Yeah, stay away from him. He's a caged animal. No, it's cool.
Take care, pal. You have a great night.
Be safe out there, everybody, eh?
All the best, pal. Be good now. It is always a pleasure. It is always an honor spending any kind of time with Big Jim. Anybody that has, I don't need to tell you the stories. I have known Jim for I don't know how many years now, and I don't believe that I can recall him ever repeating a story. I've never heard the same story twice. There's always new material. He is like the Book of War and Peace. There are so many pages, and it'll take you a lifetime to get to the end. And hopefully we don't get to the end. Hopefully the lifetime we're able to enjoy and hear a heck of a lot more. It's going to be something else to see what the future brings when it comes to Big Jim McLaughlin and story time. With that being said, of course, tomorrow is Tourney Tuesday. It is the last installment Mike and I are going to be doing with all of the prizes. We have the kids prize, and I believe it's the hero. Is it the hero shot or the video shot? And the kids prizes. Those are the last two that we have to give out. After we're done that, then the prizes get sent out, they get packaged, and everybody gets to enjoy what they deservedly won. Looking forward to getting those out for you. Tomorrow at 8, looking forward to that with our good buddy Mike Consul. And again, for all those who have supported CFN through the years and continue to support new supporters, new fans, we truly appreciate you. You have no idea. Like, at the end of the day, people say, why do you do this? Well, take a good look at yourselves. That's why. I'll be quite honest with you. It is, spending some time with my good buddy Dean Howard on Sunday, gem of an individual. Speaking with Richard Dunlop this morning, gem of an individual. And, I've got Steve, I've got Walter, I've got all the legacy members, I've got all of you. Why do you do this? Why wouldn't you, Scotty? Like, absolutely, why wouldn't you? Anyway, I want to thank all of you. Sorry that Jay couldn't make it tonight. And Lawrence, obviously, he is going to be back, he said, next Monday. So we look forward to hearing what he has in terms of an update of the Research Center and various other things. But in the meantime, as I said, Tourney Tuesday on Tuesday, and of course the Power Hour will be returning on Wednesday. So it's going to be a busy week yet again. Folks, have yourself a great week. Love you all. Get out there and fish. Get out there and enjoy the outdoors while we still can. And that's all I'm going to say. Have yourselves a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
And there's a place that I've dreamed of, where I can free my mind. I hear the sounds of the season and lose all sense of time. Feels like we're in a dream, you know what I mean.
Right there, Camp McIntosh.